Jewelry has existed for thousands of years and is still produced to this day. Here at this workshop, this art has been mastered by Samuel Millward. This is someone who is truly talented at what he does. He forges the metal from the raw material using blow torches, drills, files and many other tools to make an end product, as which you can see is something rather special and magnificent.
After school, I had the opportunity to go live with some family friends abroad in Argentina. They had a shop where I did an apprenticeship for a couple of months, learning the tricks to the trade and how to craft the metal. Silversmith, goldsmith, that type of thing. Yeah, same thing. I don't know, I've always worked with arty things all my life, and I could mold clay in small detail and stuff. So basically jewelry is in that line of fine working with small things. So I took to it naturally in that sense, I think. And I've always been creative and been drawing and designing. And jewelry involves a lot of that type of thing, you know. Oh, when I got back here, a friend of mine was really interested in seeing how it all went down and how one makes jewelry. So we scraped all our funds together and got some sponsors here and there and started buying the tools and the equipment to make the stuff. And basically it's still growing today, but yeah, I'm pretty well off to handcraft just about anything out of silver when it comes to that type of work. Yeah. Started in like 2003 or so, and I think it's been about 13 years or so now. Usually one could, like what I would do is, often there'd be like people that want custom worked stuff, so they'd come with an idea and then I'd basically work it within the limits of what my tools can do, and like draw the design on paper first, and once that's basically worked out, then I'll start getting the metal into the basic forms that I need to create the ring, which is usually plates and wires, and then from there on one cuts it with saws and start filing it into shape and bending it with pliers and so forth. And then after that one will polish it just to bring out the true magnificence of silver, you know. Well, I most commonly use silver because it's still easily accessible and seems fairly common worldwide. So I'd say it's probably the most common metal. We live in Africa where gold is also quite a rich thing supposedly, so gold is probably just as involved. People use platinum too quite a lot, but I think it's hard to say. It's people's taste, but silver is quite common, I'm sure. Well, usually one works with non-ferrous metals, which are soft, like metals like silver, obviously, gold, brass, and copper works. But people use titanium, platinum, of course, which are harder metals and requires a bit more strength and power tools, I think. But yeah, so it's most commonly the softer ones, gold and silver, you know, like that's what people like. Yeah, and it works much easier. Enough demand. Well, I'm not on the marketing side of things that big at the moment, so just a small time sideline, almost flea market type of business that I'm going, but and word of mouth. So, but yeah, I think if one's selling in the right areas, and it seems to work, but it is competitive dealing with like mass-produced jewelry that gets shipped in and stuff like that, which is, you know, easy to come by, and it's much cheaper, you know. So handcrafted stuff is unique in that sense. There is a market for it, that's for sure. It's there. Most commonly used stones. Well, they say a diamond's a girl's best friend or something like that, so I think that's quite a common one. Otherwise, there's such a large variety of gemstones and precious gemstones, semi-precious gemstones, that it's almost endless. But the most common would be like diamonds, sapphires, rubies. Those are your precious stones. Then it comes to semi-precious, would be your quartz and your like your amethyst and clear quartz and all sorts. You get emeralds, opals. There's a wide variety of jewels to be found within the earth, I guess. Shiny gemstones.
It is important when making sterling silver that the correct ratio is obtained. The metal contains 92.5% silver and 7.5% copper. This is why a scale is used. This is what makes the compound more malleable and easier to work with. All the metal is thrown into a ceramic bowl and is then melted using a blowtorch. Borax is added to the melting process to get rid of impurities in order to create a better and cleaner compound.
Until the sun goes down, until the sun goes down,
The mold is clamped using a G-clamp. The molten metal is poured into the mold. The result is a solid metal plate. The plate then gets pulled through a roller and is flattened to the desired thickness.
the sun goes down.
The piece of wood which goes into the ring gets cut with a jigsaw to the desired size. After this, it is filed and sanded to a specific smoothness and shape. Strips are cut from the plate in order to make the top fitting for the head. It is then heated up so that it can become more malleable in order to fit the wooden piece. After each brazing, the metal gets dropped into water to cool off and then nitric acid to get rid of impurities that stick to the metal. It is again filed and sanded to make a precise fit.
The sun goes down.
The head is constructed using a plate and a mixture of borax and water to ensure that impurities are reduced and the brazing goes smoothly. The borax also cleans off the soldering. The unnecessary parts of the base is then sawed off. The head is then filed to become more smooth.
Until the sun goes down.
A piece of solder is cut to join the two sides of the head. Measurements are taken and the body of the ring is drawn onto the plate and then cut out.
Sun goes down.
The jeweler's initials are then stamped on the inside of the ring.
In your skin, let's see in your eyes. Stay with me until the sun goes down. Until the sun goes down. Until the sun goes down.
Another piece of solder is cut and is brazed again using a mixture of borax and water. It is bended using pliers and another solder is put on either side. The ring is hammered onto a fitting so that the desired ring size is achieved. A thin piece of solder is cut to put the head onto the ring.
So that could be
A drill is used to clean and polish the inside of the ring. This process continues until the ring is satisfactory. The wood is then inserted into the head.
until the sun goes down. The sun goes down.
After all is well, the ring gets polished with the bench grinder. Finishing touches are done and the final product is truly something phenomenal.
He's on your skin unless in your eyes. Stay with me until the sun goes down. Until the sun goes